Now, Durban-born performer Ndu Shezi is set to release her debut album, Isibusiso Sami, this evening. The Nanda Newtown-born musician's journey began after she graduated from the Bechet High School in 2006. She proceeded to pursue her passion at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, where she studied jazz and popular music in 2007. Now, over the years, Ndu has showcased her versatility by collaborating with a diverse array of artists, both as a backup singer and as a lead vocalist. She now joins me live to discuss the launch of her debut album. Ndu, a very welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Now, I can imagine you're launching your album today. A big congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I can imagine that after so many years of putting in so much work, it has all culminated to what's to come this evening. We'll discuss that album launch. I just want us to take a few steps back and just understanding your journey of music. I mean, you studied music. It's something you've done academically, jazz and popular music, but you've got such an array with regards to the genre that you're able to do. Just talk to us when the love bug with music bit.
Sure. I think from a very young age, I come from a family of singers. Everyone at home sings, so for me it wasn't like anything special. But I've always wanted to be a performer, you know. Also, growing up in a Christian family, Umkulam was a pastor, so I grew up in the church, so gospel has always been there for me, singing at church, so that's part of my background as well. Then the jazz and popular music that I studied, I fell in love with jazz at tertiary level, of course, and then just, you know, getting into the music industry professionally, working with different artists from AKAs to Java to Ricky Rick, you know, different artists, Bongoma Fan, like you just learn so much from each and every one of them in each and every different genre, you know, how they do things, how they do production. Yeah, so it's been quite a journey.
So it's one thing to be talented, and obviously in your case it's in the blood because almost everyone in your family sings, but it's also something else to go and study and further hone that talent and understand it from a literature perspective and maybe even from a business perspective. How important was that, and how does that set you apart from other artists that just come with the talent?
Very, very important because it equips you with skills that set you apart, as you did say. But also, you know, from surface level, when people think, you know, okay, you're studying music, they think you just sing all day. Whereas there's so much more to it. There's the theory aspect of it. There's a technical aspect of it. There's, you know, you learn about harmony. You learn about live sound, you know, how to operate sound for live events. You learn about music production. You learn about music arranging for your orchestras and, you know, such. You learn, there's so much more. You learn about music appreciation as well and history. You know, there's so much more to it. And I think for me, the one thing that is very important is just taking those skills and being able to apply those skills into the real world, which is what really essentially sets you apart from, you know, the rest of the music world. And
also just using art as a tool to educate, as a tool to create awareness. Will we find those elements in this new album of yours?
Absolutely. You'll find quite a lot of elements, also a lot of things that have been a part of my journey as well, you know, in learning, growing. There's so many experiences, also in traveling as well, you know, going outside the country, just experiencing other cultures and other musicians, other artists, how they do things, how they, you know, create music. So that inspires you as well. So yeah, definitely different flavors in the album, different influences and stories as well. Yeah.
And I believe these stories within Isibusiso Sami are very personal stories to you. Heartbreak. Talk to us a little bit about how those influenced how you've curated the songs.
Yeah, well, it's very personal because it is my debut album, and so for me it's like an introduction to the world, me introducing who Ndu Shezi is to the world. And so I managed to, you know, put together three of the most important things for me, which are faith, hope and love, and which is what I sing about in this album. There's songs to inspire, we can all do with a bit of hope as well. And then there's definitely songs about love, the good and the bad.
There's always those.
And yeah, of course, I do share personal experiences, but also not so personal experiences, because the one thing that's beautiful about music is that I can be inspired just by hearing someone's story, and that can inspire me to write something. So I don't necessarily have to go through it myself. So yeah, some of the you know, not so not so good parts are not just personal, but yeah, they are relatable, definitely.
And that's very important. Talk to me about the importance of incorporating your Zulu heritage within this album, and the language being your Zulu language. Do you think it would be able to transcend beyond those that understand the language and maybe perhaps even having a global appeal in the future?
I definitely believe so, because music is a very powerful tool. You know, music connects across borders, across genres, across languages. And for me, the one reason why it's so important and so easy also to write in my home language, because it's authentic to me and it's something that I don't have to try so hard to maintain. You know, it's who I am. I'm Zulu. I don't have to try hard. So that is definitely something that I pride myself in. Yeah.
Are all the songs written in Zulu on this album?
There's a little bit of English here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for those, but
but all the titles, yeah, it's all, this is Zulu. And you know the thing about it is Zulu, some of it you cannot translate. You know, some people will ask you, can you please translate the lyrics? And like, okay, I can try, but you know, translate like if it's a proverb or if it's a saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's just the beauty of the language itself, and also just to create that curiosity. It's okay, you know, it's something that we don't know, that we are not used to.
And maybe for other artists that are young and upcoming, is that something you'd want to influence them, that authenticity in retaining their heritage and singing in indigenous languages?
Yeah, very important, because I mean, I think originality just sets you apart without you having to try too hard. Authenticity will always, always sell, and it will always set you apart. Look at how Amapiano are being received in the rest of the world, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's our own authentic sound. So I really think that if we take pride in who we are, in our own heritage and our own sounds, it definitely, the rest of the world will follow.
And which song in the album is your favorite, or the one that you'd really want people to start with in getting this up and going?
Sure, I think the first track, Vuga, it's an inspirational song, but also it's one of my very first compositions. When I first learned how to make music, I was just so, I don't know, taken by the 6/8 rhythm. That time signature, I was just so taken by it. But the story behind it is just such a powerful song. It's a song that when I wrote, wasn't really coming from my heart, like that, you know, it spoke to me. Back then I was too young, but life, you know, when you go through life, certain experiences, the song motivated me to keep going with this project, you know, because it was a long journey creating the album. It took me 4 years.
How long? 4 years?
Yeah, it took me 4 years. So it speaks of ngibona ukukhanya kwezwe kunginika ithemba. So it's really a song of hope, a song of not giving up, of persistence, a song of, you know, tenacity also, and just, you know, pushing through. So it's one of my favorite songs.
And who have you worked with on the album in terms of producers that have put together some of the beats? Any notable names or people that are very special to you?
I've been very fortunate enough to work with some of the best musicians in the country. I worked with Siyangoba Mthethwa. He also studied at UKZN. He's a producer for Joyous Celebration. I worked with Mondli Ngobo. I mean, the name speaks for itself. I worked with Jakes Tebe, producer for Zahara, Kelly Kumalo and the likes. So yeah, I've been very blessed to work with the greats. Yeah.
No, we look forward to this album. You're launching it tonight.
Yeah.
Just speak to us in terms of what's planned for tonight for those that will be in attendance.
So tonight we are out at Untitled Basement in Braamfontein, and I'm launching and performing for the very first time, performing all the songs from the album. Tickets are still available on cricket.co.za for 250 rands. The show starts at 7 p.m. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I've got a surprise as well.
Oh, you want to tell us the surprise at the very least.
You have to be there to see it.
Just before I let you go, just talk to us in terms of your inspiration. I mean, you say you grew up in a home where gospel music was fundamentally what you listened to and what you enjoyed. But in terms of maybe South African artists that have come and gone, who did you look up to?
Oh my God, there's so many, so many, and I've been blessed to have worked with some of them. But from Spogazi, oh my God, the queen, she's Spogazi, Thandiswa Mazwai, Ringo Madlingozi, those are my...
Your absolute
That's like
faves.
the cream, yeah, my absolute faves. And then just some of the older artists, your Hughes, your Miriam Makebas, you know, Aba Vulanje Indlela, you know. Sure, there's quite a lot.
And some of the challenges that you've experienced over the years, because I mean, you've been in the industry for quite some time, either as a lead vocalist or as a backup. So you've experienced it in truly what it is. What have you experienced as a challenge, maybe even just beyond being a black female artist?
Sure. There's so much, I think, with each and every industry, especially the music industry. First of all, it's still a very male-dominated industry, believe it or not, even in 2024. So part of what you have to work at as a female, as you mentioned, you have to prove yourself 10 times more than your male counterparts. And fortunately for me, I've made or I've set a tone where my work speaks for itself, where, you know, I don't have to think about being undermined in a room full of males, you know.
Of course.
So those are just some of the challenges. But also, you know, just as a creative, I think when people face like writer's block or things like that, but you have to kind of create, or you're chasing deadlines, or you know, you're working on certain projects, those are, you know, the usual things. Yeah, man.
Just the stuff that you go through within the industry. Ndu, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your debut album with us. We wish you all the best for this evening, and of course in terms of how it will be received by the audiences.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Ndu Shezi, who's launching her debut album this evening, Isibusiso Sami, joined us now to have that discussion.